Everyone, Wilmar Calagos here again, back with another module to work through with everyone. And at this point, you should have already done module 1 and taken an inventory of the current situation, the current things that you currently have in your business, and taking a good look at of the inventory of where your business is today. And if you don't have a business and you're just planning it out, module 1 is really a good indication of the things that you will need to establish for your business. And then module 2, which was figuring out your niche as a new entrepreneur, this gave you a chance to kind of reflect back on what you did really well, the expertise that you may have, and what were you really exposed to where you know enough of it and enough experience so that you can utilize that experience to start a business and figure out how and what you're going to do to add value and solve a problem. And if you already had a business, module 2 was really figuring out, one, if you needed to pivot and find maybe another product is what you're doing now isn't working, or narrowing down your products and services and maybe looking at to see which one was more profitable. Maybe it was something that you like doing more, and then maybe looking at, what my end results as far as the end product to the user or my client in providing that service was like a 10. So you kind of weighed those things out, and hopefully coming into module 3 of step 1 of foundation, you're at that clarity phase of knowing, okay, I'm gonna go with this one particular service or product, and really narrowing it down so that this module would really make sense, so that you can redo or recraft your message and also establish a unique selling position. And so as for the new entrepreneurs now that are watching this will help you, in this module will really help you refine and really dial in exactly what you're going to do, because this module is going to force you to communicate it into less than like 3 to 5 sentences. So you should be able to explain what you do in 3 to 5 sentences, and the other person receiving that message should understand exactly what you do and how you do it. So let's dig in. So here's what we're going to be covering in this module: how to craft a clear, concise, but compelling message that grabs attention. And we're going to work on a little bit of your copy here. Copy just means when you read an advertisement, how things are presented to you in what way, and we have to make that compelling, and it has to be clear, so clear that even your grandfather or your grandma can understand what you do in just 3 to 5 sentences. And then why you should know your elevator pitch. And so once we figure out that message, then having an elevator pitch is going to be very, very simple. And I'll show you 2 ways to craft that elevator pitch. So whenever someone asks you what you do, 3 to 5 sentences will be more than adequate to tell them exactly what you do. And then we will establish your unique selling position and what your USP will be. You'll actually be writing it out. And so being unique again in the marketplace, we did a little bit of that and figuring out your niche. And then now, how do we explain and describe what you do, but also make it unique so that you are not just another Me Too company me better company, but you can be perceived and looked at as a me only company. And that's how we'll learn how to position that, so that when you communicate it, you can place yourself separate, even though you're providing a service that many other people are providing. So let's go to the SDB's Implementer 7-Step Process Handbook Guide. Step 1, crafting your message and establishing a unique selling position, which is your USP. In order to stand out from a crowded marketplace, you need to craft a compelling message that grabs the attention of your target market, targeting their emotion. Then they will justify buying with logic, which is very true. Purchases are always made with emotion, and then we justify it with logic. Establish a USP. Then once you have their attention, the goal of your message is to provoke them to respond. This is what you will accomplish with this module. So let's get to step 1. Answer the following question to discover your USP to craft your message. The entire goal of a USP is to answer this question: why should I buy from you rather than your nearest competitor? And you'll find, I'm in the service space, right? And so, when I do these strategy sessions, everyone is looking for just options. A lot of times they're not looking to buy. I just had a call yesterday, and this person, I was the second person that made them an offer, and they actually had a third person that was in the same space, what I was doing. And so he's looking at talking to 3 people and looking at his options, and then, making a decision. And so you'll find, you really have to figure out how you're going to be different from everybody else in the marketplace. Because most of the time, it's people looking for options rather than wanting to buy initially. So you got to know what your competitor is offering, and then putting together your USP so that you can be different and be perceived different, that brings more value than your competitors. And so when I did my research, right, I was going to get into consulting. My original background is real estate and mortgage financing, and I built pretty much systems, processes, and documentation for the companies I work for. And so for me, I'm looking at the marketplace, and for the most part, consultants just consult and pretty much give you a tool. But as far as implementation, for the most part, you're like on your own, unless you pay top dollar $5,000-$10,000 or more for an implementation of some sort in your business. Even a standard CRM customization, advanced customization, to run your business is going to cost you at least $3,000 to $5,000. And so for me, I knew that about the market. And so for me, I'm going to be different because I'm going to be helping with the implementation part. So it's, providing them the tools, but also providing them with the consulting plus the implementation, so that they can just focus on, 1, what they do really well, and 2, I can, pretty much dial in their systems on the back end. And so the 2 questions you must ask yourself and answer: why they should buy from me. Okay, and so for me, I've kind of thought about it. Okay, so why they should buy from me? To me, it's very easy. I give them a pretty systematic, detailed, PDF, workbook that's pretty systematic, pretty easy to follow, and it's interactive. And so they can fill this out. And then what I did was I built my own SDB Implementor web application where all their systems, processes, their process maps, their checklists, their video training can all be uploaded and designed on this web application. And then for me, I'm a visual learner, and so I need videos. And so I'm also providing the video training. This is the, mini course that you're looking at. And, my other courses are, way longer than the, 18 videos that you're doing currently right now. And then I'm going to be doing the implementation and not just the consultation. And, for me, the results of that is that you have everything you need to basically be successful and, dial in your systems, your processes, your documentation. And there's really no excuse for you to not be successful. And if you're not successful, it's only because you haven't done the work. And then the next question is why should they buy from me? And for me is that, the cost of what I offer is a fraction of the cost that they would pay if they were to get something custom from anybody. And so, as I mentioned, even just the CRM customization is going to run you, a good, 2, 3, 5,000, depending of how much, advanced it is that you want to, set your, your CRM, which is your, client relationship management, where you store pretty much all the data of every person, staff, you have in your business. And so for me, that was one reason. The other thing is that I know as a new entrepreneur, I knew I didn't have money to do it. And so for me, I look at the marketplace, it's very high ticket. And, there's no one really offering something very affordable for somebody to get started. So for me, I decided, what, they should buy from me because one, I'm going to have a pretty aggressive payment plan of 2 years with a down payment. And so I look at the marketplace and no one is really, offering that. And so it's a full, systemization, but also affordable. And then what I did is I have 3 other offers so that one, anybody can get started even if they're just thinking about, starting their own business. And sometimes, people, it takes time, for people to really figure out if they actually want to, pull the trigger. And so I have, very low cost entry where they still get the, the workbook, they get also the web application, they get the, video training, and then they get one consultation with me where I will go through all 7 steps of the process. And so at least they have the big picture, macro picture. They know, what systems that they need, what software they should use, and then how to, build their back end as they, think more whether or not they actually want to pull the trigger. So it's a very low entry point for them to get into. And if they want to decide they want to really go and implement everything that we talked about, then they don't lose out on any money. The initial costs of that offer will translate into the bigger packages. And so again, they should buy from me because of speed and having all the tools. Next question is, what is your unique selling position? For me, it's speed, right? It's not just consultation, it's figuring out your system. I work every system. I look at every process and provide the tools for you to document it. and then support in the implementation part of the whole thing. So literally, I build it for you so that you can just focus on what you want to do, and I worry all on the back end. And so for me, I can pretty much take care of anybody that's a new entrepreneur that just has an idea in their head, which for me is like the most exciting client, and also being able to help someone that has a multi-million-dollar company that has very unique things that they want to build: web, mobile, IT, servers, and all that good stuff. And then we get to step 2. Write and create your compelling message, which includes your offer, in 2 ways. Okay. Define your message in a simple sentence, and 2, using this message equation. So I have 2, which is 1, I help niche focus to get results in this market by your offer. And so, this is what I have, for my offer. I help new entrepreneurs and startups. I help new entrepreneurs, startups, and business owners implement system into their business through our implementer 7-step process in 6 to 12 weeks. So step 2, we create your compelling message, which includes your offer, in 2 ways. Define your message in a simple sentence or 2. The message equation is, I help niche focus to get results in this market by your offer. So mine is, I help new entrepreneurs, startups, and business owners implement systems into their business through our SDB Implementer 7-step process in 6 to 12 weeks. Very, very simple. And then the other way that you can do it is that problem well. What we do is solution, in fact, proof. And it can go something like this. When someone starts a business but no clue how to run their business, but they have an office, equipment, and expenses, but don't know how to manage all of it. What I do is I use a 7-step process to implement systems. In fact, my client wanted an app that housed content he wanted to charge on a monthly basis, but he didn't want to pay a ton of money to build an app. I helped him get it up and running in 4 weeks. And so, these 2 things are really your elevator pitch. When somebody asks you what you do, you should be able to give them 3 to 5 sentences to really solidify what you do. Now, these are designed so that they are supposed to be short, because the shorter they are, you have to really labor so that you can concise it, in 3 to 5 sentences and really make it make sense when you actually, say what it is that you do and how you are unique. And so this module is going to serve you into the rest of the modules in knowing what your message is, and then also what your unique selling position is. And again, as you go through these modules, you may be stuck, especially in figuring out your message. And these modules are really designed for you to complete them. And when you do this, my suggestion is you just start writing. and don't even worry about if it sounds good, it doesn't sound good. The main thing is to get your ideas written down. And so when we have a systemization strategy session, we can look at all those ideas. And sometimes the best ideas, come from, when you just start writing. When you read like authors and writers, usually they just start writing and writing and writing, and they aren't really, trying to figure out if it sounds good or if it looks good, or it makes sense, but they just keep writing. And then they kind of go back to what they wrote, and really start compiling things. And so this is really just a building block in creating that message. And as you go through the other sections and modules, it'll start to get really clear, because now you know more about your customer, and you start to really define exactly what you want to do. So again, it's really important that this would probably be pretty difficult and hard for you to do if you didn't really solidify your niche and exactly what you want to do. And so make sure you do that if you're having trouble with writing this. But again, just keep this simple, okay? And you want to write this in a way that when you say it, it's exactly how you would say it. Like, don't use words that are confusing, or try to sound like you're smart. Writing copy is really saying it how you would say it to the person. And then when someone reads this, maybe it's on a website or some kind of, email that you send them, it would sound exactly how you would say it. So just, keep this simple. Just write down your ideas, and then when we do a strategy session, we'll go over each of these modules, and then we will just have a discussion and go back and forth and get more clarity, and then we can finalize this portion of the module. And so again, I want to remind you of the 4 things that matter when you systemize the business: systems, processes, documentation, and then execution of all of those things. Aside from closing sales, you will be tempted to do other things, but when it comes to systemization, your brain power has to be focused on these 4 parts: implementing the systems you need today, figuring out its processes, documenting them, and executing them. That's all that really matters in terms of systemization. All right, I will see you on the next video.